Yeah, no, I'm turning the table. I'm being the interview. I think I'm good at it.
Oh my God. Please don't steal my thunder.
Yes, I shall take over your podcast. And hey, audience, now on, it's me presenting to you.
I'm not posting this.
And I'll try your Doordarshan voice as well.
Hi, this is Amrita Sukumar, and I'm bringing to you this podcast called Unsettling. Look around you. Everyone is trying to create their own story. Make a tiny change in someone's life by just following their passion and in turn, inspiring the others to follow suit. This podcast brings to you stories of people who have defied the definition of settled set by the society and have created their own. They have found happiness in their version of settled. What is yours?
Fellow listeners, today we have with us Mr. Johnson Varghese. He's calling all the way from Dublin, and he is my really good friend. I know you won't be able to believe it when we talk on the podcast, but seriously, he is. I mean, I can't help it. I've been stuck with him since childhood. So, Joe, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am Johnson, and I'm talking to you guys all the way from Dublin, beautiful islands of Ireland. I am, as I said before in the previous recording that you don't know, I'm an horology enthusiast, self-confessed generalist, and a big fan of intellectual discourse. So that's me.
Yes. I know the big words have come again. So,
Yes,
Joe, what did you study and why did you study it?
I did mechanical engineering, which was sort of, everybody was doing engineering, and I suppose I was slightly technically inclined, and that was the only option at that point for me, or so I thought. And then went on to do an MBA in finance here in Dublin. And that I did because I was like not working in engineering per se when I left engineering.
Okay.
I realized, why not? Let's do this. And that was one way for me to get out of the place as well. So that.
Okay. So you chose finance after doing a little bit of research, or you just chose it because there was a lot of scope in that field?
I chose finance because I liked it. I was infatuated by what that industry did. And so I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And that's why I chose it.
What about mechanical? You said that you were technically inclined, but you still chose not to pursue it?
How I chose mechanical is sort of like, oh, my dad was like, that's good. And I was like, I want to do engineering. No, I really wanted to do physics, if you remember.
Yes.
So I wanted to get into BSc physics, but then apparently you don't get a job with that.
So mechanical had a job?
At that point, my dad was more inclined to saying, oh, no, I have a business. You can take that because like it's mechanical engineering related. And then I realized that at that point, I was like, if I'm doing engineering, I want to do computers because that was the cool thing to do at that point.
Yes, fine.
Not that I gave a two-bit hoot about it, but then eventually I was like, yeah, you know what, doesn't matter, just do whatever. So I joined engineering really on a whim.
Okay. So, why ddid you choose Dublin? Like, did you do your research about the universities that were available, and how did you zero in on Dublin?
अरे इतना लॉजिक नहीं था सस्ता था एकदम
Sasta was the logic.
Exactly. No, the point was actually I did do research.
Of course, Sasta ke liye bhi you did a little bit of research, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's my two-bit. अरे सस्ता था. MIT was more expensive than Dublin. क्या करेगा?
What are you saying? MIT Pune was more expensive than Dublin?
100%. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. And how is the education there? Are you allowed to say that?
MIT Pune, MBA program in MIT is supposed to be really good, but I've not been there, so I don't know.
Okay.
I did engineering there, and unless you're very proficient in Marathi, I don't think you can learn much engineering there either.
Oh.
So as you can realize, I struggled a bit.
I know. Tula Marathi माहिती नाही. Still.
मला मराठी माहिती नाही. कुणाला पण विचारा and all that stuff. But yeah, so Dublin was interesting in the sense because when I was applying, they had just the whole Brexit shenanigans that started in the UK. I couldn't go to Canada, US, like funding was expensive and didn't have the same level of course, all of that happening. I wanted to go to the UK, but they were doing all the Brexit shenanigans, so I couldn't stay back after my education.
Okay.
So Dublin was like the sweet spot, which was getting big in fintech industry, which was something I was interested in, and it was cheap, and it let me stay back for 2 years after my education. So lo and behold, I landed in the Emerald Isles.
2 years after your education, that means you have a visa extension. You don't have to come.
Yes, you have a.
Okay.
Yeah, you have a stay back visa for 2 years to find out or go, figure out a job or whatever, right?
Okay.
So that was the interest.
So did you take a loan to go to Dublin, or you had a scholarship?
Well, when I joined, they gave me some like discount on the fees, but I did not take a loan. It was paid for. So yeah.
Okay. So you have a little bit of a creative side as well. You've done stand-up sometime.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel that you want to follow that path ever?
Okay, that's a loaded question coming from you because you know the story.
I know the stories. Our listeners don't. That is why.
Then I know. So that's why you're putting me on a spot there.
Exactly.
No, I like the creative aspect. Well, we all began doing theater, if you can call it that, when we started.
Don't call it theater. It was called a school play and we were forced into it. Continue.
Yes, well, you went on to do it properly and I didn't. But again, I've always thought of it. We were chosen those times just because we could speak English. That was the only talent requirement, not really to act.
Yeah, I know, that is true. I was Sasu mom, if you remember.
Yes, you were a lot of things. Like as far as I can remember, every year I was in something or the other because I could speak English. I think that was the only thing.
Yes.
But the Hindi department had all the talent because everybody could speak Hindi, and so you had to be good at something to get up there.
Yes.
No, eventually, creative-wise, not just stand-up. I liked debate in school. So in KV, I was good at that. I liked writing. I was into music. I did a lot of these things earlier on, and then sort of went away from it over the time. As caught up in the rat race, as your brother once famously said to me. So yeah.
Okay. So do you ever feel that you want to get away from the rat race and maybe follow it sometime? Or are you happy with where you are right now? Are you happy with the kind of job you're doing?
I'm definitely happy. There's no I don't derive happiness from circumstances around me in that sense. That's a whole different discussion of that, I suppose. But I don't really believe in that as the general perception of it. I sort of enjoy being in work, and I do, even though it's a bit falsely related thing, but I do derive some sense of identity from work, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
But I do not necessarily feel the rat race is an issue for me personally. But I'm like at odds with the society in that.
Okay. So assuming that there's someone out there who is, at the rat race, but he's not happy with where he is. So what message would you give that person? Do you have any message for that person? Is the point.
Yes. Well, I don't think I'm particularly qualified to give anybody a message here. But what I would say though is, everybody's understanding of rat race is their perception of what people's perception of the rat race is.
Okay.
Is that too convoluted?
No, it's like inception of perception.
Sort of. So, you are worried or you are influenced by what people think, or you think what people think of you,
Correct.
And
especially
out. Exactly. That char log will follow you everywhere.
Yeah.
Those char log think something about you, and you think this is what they think, and because you think that they think this, you have a problem. If you still kept the thread of logic there.
I got it. So what is your definition of settled? Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off.
No, so I'll just quickly finish that. So the rat race people is figure out what do you think it is, and then don't worry about people's perception of it. And I'll quickly go on to your next one. You were saying, what was the next question there?
What is your definition of settled? I mean, because our parents always had this notion, right? As you said, the char log have this perception कि settled down मतलब अच्छी salary, घर, शादी, बच्चे. That is their definition of settled. And for some, just being happy today is what settled means. So what is your definition of settled?
Good question, but I'll also add that char log will not be happy with just your bacha. They want your bacha to be married and they have bacha and all that.
Yeah, I know.
Cycle continues.
It's a vicious cycle.
Bloody char log don't die. So they are incessant at this. But okay, my definition of settled is when you are content with something. And if you're content with what you're doing, if you're happy with where your life is right now, and if you have a sense of direction of where that it's leading, I think you are settled. The one thing though I would say when people are like, oh, people have been out there, they're successful and I'm still, not doing compared to them. Problem is we are comparing, but the second thing is what we don't realize is that their life has maybe the ups and downs, but you have to use the advantages you've got, right? Like luckily for me, for now, my brother is already settled. Thankfully, so I don't have to be settled. There is no pressure on me. My parents are, thankfully doing all right, so I don't have to take care of them. So I have that opportunity to pursue it. And people don't see that as a great opportunity, a blessing. And they say, yeah, and it should be because imagine if you didn't have that, if your parents were not well off and you didn't have a settled sibling. Your case is the same. You have a settled sibling, so you're okay, where nobody's really looking on to you for support. You're free to pursue. If that was not the case, you had to be a breadwinner for your family, this conversation will not arise in the first place. So most of us who are wondering, hey, I'm not settled, they are already in a position of power in the sense that, hey, you're free to pursue and you're wasting that option to pursue passion by not doing it. You're doing a disservice by not actually going and doing what you really want to and not being. And if you force yourself to be settled after the opportunity, then you're just being a jackass. Or, wasting an opportunity. Sure, there is financial aspect, there is social aspect. I'm not trying to take away and be controversial, or slightly I am trying to be controversial, but my definition is you being content and knowing where you're headed. And I think that's a lot to say for itself. Yeah. I want to turn the tables and ask you what your definition of settled is. And
okay.
I'm pretty sure my folks are not happy. They don't think I'm settled. Dublin mein hai, lekin kya
definitely. So my folks are also now they have come to terms with happiness is equivalent to settled. My definition of settled would be if I am able to be my own boss. I don't want to work from 9 to 5 for anyone and be able to sustain myself by doing things that I love and not get, caught up in that whirlpool of that rat race. I don't want to be there. But before, there were a lot of astrologers.
That is of you revolting for about last 10 years.
Yes. 4 years, 5 years I've been revolting. But according to my astrologer, my settled was in 2015, August 13th, when I was supposed to get married to some guy, according to my stars. So
you're way past your prime now.
I'm way past my settled age. And yes, actually there was a wedding on August 13th, but it was just not mine. One of my friends got married on that day to some other girl. So maybe
I have to put this in your podcast. I have to put this in your podcast. You're the one always claiming that I got married to somebody and scaring me. You always tell me I got married to somebody. I don't know why.
Oh yeah, I don't know why. There are rumors always coming. Why are people obsessed with you, Joe? I think you have more than 4 people following you right now. You just have to keep a check on that.
No, but I think
I'm getting rumors about you. You're sitting in Dublin and I don't know why. I get rumors that you're getting married. No, you are married actually. It's not you're getting married, you're already married. I don't know. Do you have any kids by now? No?
Yeah, at this rate, I wouldn't know. Yeah, but
you have to get that checked. I'm telling you, there are more than 4 people following you right now.
The Charlong have got to you, right?
Yeah, the char look have got to. So, Joe, would you like to give your 16-year-old any advice? 16-year-old self, any advice?
Sure, I will. Not that I think I would listen to myself, even if I don't. But yeah, I would say, yeah, spend some time thinking about what you want and you're already on the right track and don't listen to anybody. You're right. I think that was the biggest issue. I used to doubt myself quite a bit
Yeah.
of what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I guess, a lot of people do that. It's just that if that's what you want and you stick by it, it's absolutely worth it, regardless of you're settled or not, whatever that term means by, I don't care if you're 30. But if you're doing what you like, I think you're going to be very happy about it.
That's good advice to yourself, which you can't follow anyway. But I guess maybe some 16-year-old who's listening will get inspired.
I don't think we're going to inspire any 16-year-olds.
Or maybe someone wants to do an engineering and get a job and do maybe MBA.
Well, I'll tell you one
finance.
thing.
Yes.
You have done. You've been in the engineering school. I've been there, and a lot of people who. If somebody's planning.
I have never been in engineering. I was in the engineering.
You went to the same building, bro.
Yeah, I was in the same building. Yes.
So you know the same public there. So what I meant is half of them are not interested, and rather most of them are not interested. One guy who gets a job, and every parent sees him and her, and they go like, "Oh, that boy got a big package, or that lady's got a big package, so hence everybody should do engineering." That's all bull. Rather, if you do what you like, and don't do engineering and MBA because that's what everybody's doing either. Because I've done that as well. But I did it because I liked it, so I enjoyed it, and I was good at my MBA, right? A bit of shameless plugging. I was like the graduate of the year and all here. And I was laughing at it because, yeah.
Nice. But you were always smart. I thought you would become a scientist at NASA or something, which you didn't.
I wanted to.
Because you knew more about astronomy when we were in 7th. I have no idea why. Than anybody in the entire school. Even the senior.
Oh no, that was true. I went on to teach astrophysics in MIT when I was there, as in the club and everything. I used to do sessions there. I still do it here, and if I get a chance to, I still like it. There's no doubt about that. But then why I was saying that, the MBA worked out for me was like I did well in school was because I liked it and I put some time in. In engineering, that was not the case. We were all just passing by,
I think that is the problem that is happening right now is that when we are 16, we are not given enough information about all the job opportunities that are there out there. It's just engineering, doctor, architect. I think that's it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like, there's also another thing. Okay, now this is more like consistent with the topic. Just early days of unsettling is this, that when you're 16, first of all, you don't have enough exposure.
Exactly.
Like you don't know. Well, at least in our times, we were not that exposed.
Even now, I don't think the kids know what they want to do.
Oh yeah, no, not knowing what you want to do is fine. I mean, I'm sure most of us, like both of us right now, don't really know what we want in life, I guess. So that's okay to start with. But the exposure was missing, at least where we were back in the day. And if the problem was, if you're anywhere good at scoring numbers in your exam, suddenly you had to take science. And a lot of people I knew were in science, not wanting to be in science.
That is true. Me too. I mean, I enjoyed doing it, but then I didn't know why I took it up. That is the point.
No, like, I still remember just for the fun of it when I was joining 11th and Deepthi Chaudhary was there and I was like, hey, I want to take commerce. And she gave me this murderous look and she like, how dare you? And I was like, wow.
Yeah, I know.
Just because you scored marks, right?
I mean, why is commerce bad? Isn't it better to learn commerce than to learn science because commerce helps you in real life?
You have a point. I mean, the thing is, if the guy or the girl, if the student wants to study it and we are forcing them down a different lane and then you say, oh, they're not job ready. Of course, they don't give a shit about what they're studying. What do you expect them to do? Like,
I'm doing my diploma in education and I'm doing my master's in English literature at the same time. The point is, when I went to college, I was really excited because I thought I will learn how to teach people, right? Teach children mostly. I wanted to know how to get to their psyche and make them sit in one place because I saw my nephew jumping around everywhere. Now I go to the college all excited. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to learn the psychology of a child. And the first thing that my teacher tells me is, हाँ तो तुम फाइल सबमिट कर देना और उसमें जो भी हम बता देंगे वो कर दीजिएगा, तो 60 मार्क ऐसे ही मिल जाएंगे. 60 मार्क हमारे हाथ में है, मतलब वो तुम्हारे हाथ में है. 60 मार्क्स is in your hands, not ours. You do all this and then it is very simple. फिर क्या, तुमको 40 मार्क का पेपर आएगा, उसमें से 20 मार्क only. 20 is so easy, no? You have to just do that. And then you will score the highest bus. This was our orientation, by the way. This was the orientation that we were given. Hey, marks, 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 marks. यहाँ पे marks, वहाँ पे marks. ये करोगे तो marks, वो करोगे तो marks. मार्क्स का क्या अचार डालना है, बाहर जाके सब सेम दुनिया से लड़ेंगे और मार्क्स का कुछ फायदा नहीं है. इफ यू डिडंट अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट, इफ यू डिडंट अंडरस्टैंड हाउ टू गेट डाउन टू देयर लेवल, हाउ टू टीच, हाउ टू यूज योर प्रॉप्स, हाउ टू यूज योर इंटरनेट और योर फोन अपार्ट फ्रॉम स्क्रोलिंग फॉर इंस्टाग्राम, you will not be able to teach a child. It's very difficult and they are a lot of work. I mean, if someone tells me that kids are cute, they are, but really they are a lot of work. You have to keep them engaged at all times. You have to tell them stories. You have to make sure that they are not deviating from what they're doing. You have to keep them active all the time. It's a difficult task if you're not in it.
Well, that points to education in a bit more broader sense. Like that's one of the things I've realized difference between when I did engineering in India and an MBA here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I was a bit of a nerd, so I loved being in library. But you know, at times of my MBA, I was coming into the library when the damn thing opened, and I was the last one out of the place because that's the time you had to spend doing your research and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And when I was doing my research work, your final year dissertation, whatever it is, I realized that if you didn't enjoy it, you were not going to do it. And the difference was there was nobody telling you to do anything. They were not offering you marks. They didn't care how much you scored. Like, it was a surprise for me when I turned out to be like the graduate of the year because I wasn't expecting it. I was just doing what I liked. But the education system is very conducive here if you are interested. If you're not, it will spit you out just like the Indian system does. But I think in Indian system, everybody gets spat out regardless of if you like it or not. But on the settled, unsettled, I all feel like, oh, you have so much more to talk about. But that's just me.
Yeah, that's just you. Okay. Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much for taking time out of your life and joining this podcast. I think that was an interesting conversation.
If you have any queries, you can always comment or send me a DM on my Insta page or send me a mail and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Stay tuned.